fiberglass and composites material, ranging from Indonesia all the way to the United States. If I compare all of these countries that we operate, we still believe that the GCC, and in particular the UAE, is the best environment in order to expand and to develop technology and industry. Nice thing about this part of the world, especially in UAE, they've spent enough money on the infrastructure, and they allow us, business investors, in order to operate within the framework that is being set up, which makes life much easier. When we came here in the 70s, the whole region was going to be built, so it was a fantastic time to be around. We've seen another boom after the first Gulf War, whereby money started flowing into the Arab world. We've seen another boom in the 2002, except that after 2008, we started seeing things changing. There is a new norm to operate. 2011, with the so-called Arab Spring, things started going south. And then today, we are facing, as industry, as infrastructure, too many things that we need to address. First of all, from 2015 to 2016, the expenditure for projects went from $177 billion to $120 billion. We have the wars that was started in Yemen, we have Syria, we have Iraq, we have Libya. So things are becoming not only that the price of oil is going down, but there are other expenditures that it has to be addressed in a different way than it was used to be before. So the challenges are big. First of all, what we are facing now is an issue that with the privatization policy that we hear that's going to be implemented, there are issues of finance. The question is that with the slowdown of payments and the reduction of projects, there is not enough financing that's going to happen, and specifically for the SMEs. The problems that the SMEs have in this country is that there is no credit rating, there is no sources. In the UAE, definitely, they have passed a law that will do that, but in general, you have that issue that might be facing. Another thing, we will be losing edge to foreign companies, because big contractors, big foreign companies, they can bring credits, export credit finance, whereby we, in the Arab world, we have difficulty in order to achieve that. Third, the cost of doing business in the GCC is going up. So to be able to balance the additional taxations and the VAT, what we would like to see is a way to help the industry to export our services. If we look at the interregional trade, it's barely 12%. With the Gulf Customs Union and with the so-called League of Arab countries, whereby we're trying to do this intertrade, it is very limited. So where do we go from here? I believe we need to change the way that we prepare our youth and our employees for the challenges to come. The world is not functioning as it used to be. I don't believe the price of oil, as we've heard from the expert, is going to really go way above 60 over the next 18 to 24 months, which means that with the commitment of the region and the conflicts that we have, there will be little money that is going to be spent on infrastructure. True that we're not going to be seeing a dip, but at the end of the day, I don't see growth that's coming up in the next 2 to 3 years. Obviously, the whole world is becoming more protectionist. So we have, among ourselves here, to start working in a way to be able to see how we can cooperate in order to go after projects. I do not see how we can be an export-driven industries if we cannot actually align ourselves with financial institutions that are willing to look into project finance. And this is whereby I believe with all the money that's being spent in the region, it's about time that we create a MENA, reconstruction and development project, because with the money that's going to be spent in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, in Yemen, I think we should be part of that process in order to allow our institutions to become part of that expansion when it comes. We've seen that one before in Lebanon in the 90s. We've seen it in other countries. We've seen it in Egypt after the first Gulf War. So the opportunities are there, but we have to be a little bit more flexible how we think about driving these things. Another thing which I would hope that the governments will try to work on, we support 100% nationalization of the labor force. But what we would like to see, that the educational system becomes offering options for us to be able to become beyond, to think outside the box. We don't need any more engineers, we don't need any more accountants that are thinking the old traditional way. There is a lot of business that could be done around the world. But on the other hand, we need the right education and right platforms to allow us to use that to become more efficient and more aggressive in order to pursue businesses around the world. The one thing that we see that's happening now is that alternative energy, different way of thinking. We need to be thinking a little bit differently. I believe if we can work together, there is a chance. Do we still believe that this part of the world is the best? Yes, it represents over 65% of our turnover around the world, and we feel very comfortable doing it. But if we are going to be able to export and to keep attracting businesses, we need to become more efficient. And this is what we're hoping, is that we should have a balance between adding cost, adding more taxation and VAT, and giving incentives for the industry to keep expanding. Otherwise, we're going to be caught in the loop that with little spending that's happening in the region, and with a higher cost, it might put us in an awkward position for the future. The vision that we have seen, whether in Saudi Arabia, whether in the UAE, and what we are hoping that you will see in other GCC countries, it is promising. The question is that, what do we do in the next 2 to 3 years until these plans are being put into implementation? We need to find ways that we can work together in such a way that we can really maintain our edge over the region. I think doing business is fantastic. We would like to see the financial institutions becoming more involved with the industry and with the investors here in order to allow the export. And here I'm talking as an industry. I'm not a trader, looking as an industry that we plan for the next 50 years. If there is that possibility, I believe there could be a lot of chances for us. We can be very competitive. What we've seen in this part of the world is that the latest engineering technologies are available. We've seen the 3D printing, which we've seen it now at the mega size, not only basically in a lab model. There are all kinds of things. But what we hope is that the governments will try to help us in order to become more efficient and to open doors for us and to become more active like what we've seen in European countries. As you know, most of the embassies around this part of the world, the trading division actually becomes as a very important supporter for the companies that are operating from that country. What we are hoping for is that in the GCC, the foreign ministries will then support the companies, the GCC companies, in order to do more business outside. And then what we're hoping also is that we can see more of a credit export financing, because we see a lot of money that's being given by the GCC countries to help reconstructing countries. Why don't we make it as a precondition to use UAE or GCC-based industries? Because that's the way we can maintain our businesses, grow, and to sustain the development and to hire more people. Thank you very much.